Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Before we jump in, you will notice that you have two screens visible to you. If myself and Victoria are on the smaller screens, please go ahead and click on my screen to move to the main window. So it is my privilege to welcome you to this very important online event today called Unlock the Secrets of Becoming an Advanced Certified Spiritual Coach and Energy Healer, identifying and understanding hidden soul wounds that are keeping you from accomplishing your soul's mission. My name is Marjorie. I am a host at Expertise TV, and I'm very excited to be introducing you to a very remarkable woman and healer, Victoria Amador. Victoria is a transpersonal therapist and spiritual healer and coach, and she is the founder of Soul Healing Tribe and the creator of the Dream Regression technique, which we're going to be learning about today. Victoria is also a certified age and past life regression therapist, spirit releasement therapist, and a neo-medicine and ancestral spiritual priestess. She is also certified in psychedelic sacred plant medicine integration, is a trauma-informed specialist, and if that wasn't impressive enough, Victoria is a serial entrepreneur and author. So without further ado, a very warm welcome to Victoria Amador. Victoria, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Marjorie. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm super excited and looking forward to our conversation today.
So I'd love to start our journey today with hearing a little bit more about what led you to become a transpersonal therapist and spiritual healer and coach.
Yeah, and wow, that's there is a lot there, but I think what I want to share today in regards to that journey is that as a child, I was depressed and hopeless, and I didn't know why, and I didn't know that that wasn't normal. I thought that that was life, that everybody was the same way. So in my late 20s, when I realized life shouldn't be this gray, I went into a spiritual journey and went back to really connecting with my ancestors and diving deep into a spiritual ancestral practice from the Dominican Republic. And eventually that led me to psychedelics, and being able to serve for others and help others heal really was amazing. But what I realized is that what I loved the most was when people got their own transformations from within, so that they didn't seek someone outside of them, that it was really coming from within. So to empower them, I started a journey of going into therapeutic protocols to really empower my clients. And that was such a beautiful merge of the spiritual, shamanic, and therapeutic components to really awaken the healer within. So it has been such a beautiful journey, and I'm super excited to be sharing this with you today.
Thank you so much, Victoria. So before we dive into today's incredibly important content, who would you say is really going to benefit from what you're about to share with us?
Sure. If we can move to the next slide. Thank you. So I think the people that are going to get the most out of today's conversation are going to be those that are really feeling a deep urge to help others heal. And they have that urge, that constant reminder, that energy within that says you're meant to be doing this. Mm-hmm. Or perhaps people that are already doing this healing journey with others and guiding others and coaching others, but perhaps there is a part of them that is still resisting or maybe having doubts and insecurities about what they can do for their clients. Perhaps they're already doing this and they know that there are some crucial components that they're missing within their toolkit in order to help their clients experience deep, profound transformations that are permanent. Mm-hmm. Or healers and coaches that want to be able to do this and make a proper living out of this. It's not just something on the side, but something that is creating abundancy also in their lives, so that it can be sustainable, so that they don't eventually have to go back to a 9-to-5. So it's going to be a beautiful conversation today. So I'm excited to dive in.
Thank you so much. So if you, the audience, if you're ready to embark on a healing journey and step into new levels of spiritual, emotional, and mental freedom, and finally accomplish your soul's mission, then you're in the right place, which is here. So once again, we're going to go through a lot of information, but some of what Victoria is going to talk about today are the 4 main existential wounds and what is possible when we heal, trauma cycling and their key characteristics and why you should care, soul imprints and how to identify if the issue is a soul wound, the healing process journey, how dreams and nightmares are our allies, DRT, and Phoenix Rising exercise, and finding limiting hidden beliefs exercise. So I'm sure our audience is eager to hear everything you have to share with us, Victoria. So let's go ahead and dive right in.
Let's do it. This is a map of the mind. The conscious mind, as you can see, is only about 10%. The subconscious and unconscious is 90% of our mind. And it is in the subconscious and unconscious where we hold hidden beliefs, patterns, karmic patterns that are affecting us and sometimes make us feel like we're stuck in a loop. Sometimes we procrastinate and self-sabotage because at the unconscious level, there are things happening where past experiences are keeping us in a loop. So my goal today is to show you how even successful people like yourself, potential healers and coaches, we may be operating from hidden beliefs and traumas and situations that are really holding us from really becoming and embracing all that we're supposed to be. To achieve this, I want to start with the soul wounds. So when we speak about the soul wounds, it's important for us to understand that not only we are experiencing this wound sometimes, and it's never going to be from the conscious mind. It's very rare for someone to say, oh, wow, I have this issue and that issue, and this happened because when I was little. Most of these things are happening behind the scenes. We never get to really be curious about it. So I want you to start being curious. So when we talk about these 4B wounds, the resistance to life, this is about saying yes to life. Maybe powerlessness, where in life I feel like I am weak and not able to. And then the unworthiness and the disorder identity. We're going to go through all of these. So, but first, let me start with the resistance behaviors, because this is something that a lot of people experience and they're not even aware. Sometimes we are not aware that this is happening. And for people that are very depressed, it's clear to them. But a lot of the time, and I've been through this as a child, I grew up with depression, and I didn't even know that I was depressed. It took me a long time to figure that out. I thought everybody was the same way. So it's not just the very, very depressed people that may be resistant to life, but how do we do that even when we are successful individuals? Sometimes we may even put up with thoughts and beliefs that we have to struggle with life, that we have to experience hard work in order for us to make it. That is also a way to resist to life. Also, there's specific things that even successful people like you and I do. We do self-sabotaging things, habits, patterns that really is coming from a specific past trauma, whether it is in this life or a past life, where we were trying to make it through life, but in that moment, we also created a shadow aspect that made us resistant to saying yes to life. Sometimes we may even have just a very negative outlook towards trying new things, towards change. Sometimes we may be even stubborn. So the resistance to life can show up in many ways. For some people, it is a little more passive in the way that we show up or don't show up, for that matter, where we might be extremely rigid or truly feeling stuck in regards to something specific. Not the whole part of us, but a part of us feels stuck. A part of ours feels like it's just not going to work. Another part may feel completely alone, lonely, isolated, with anxiety, and we don't even realize that we're dealing with anxiety. Maybe even boredom. Have you ever gone to the point where you just feel like, what's the point of all of this? Or why even try? also being impatient with something. Sometimes we want something so much and we're like, that's the only way, because we believe when we have that one thing that we're going to feel better. So we're looking to replace that emptiness that we feel, but it doesn't come because there is something that we need to work through that hasn't become conscious to, it hasn't made the shift from the unconscious to the subconscious to the conscious mind. It hasn't made that bridge. So the resistance to life, sometimes some of these behaviors may show up by being extremely busy or dealing with addictions, maybe not following through on your commitments. I see this very often with people that are extremely successful, where they commit to something, but they pull away from the commitment at the last moment because there is a part of them that doesn't want to commit, that doesn't want to be part of the experience, that doesn't want the change, that doesn't want the opportunities. So, and sometimes being busy is one of the best way to have an excuse not to do something. So as we move on to the passive expression of the avoidance behaviors, what we see is resignation. I'll do that later. Not committing to people or projects, because if we commit, then we're going to have to do something, and that's going to be in our mind, waiting on us, like a heavy responsibility. Also, some of these people are very risk averse, where they have a lot of fears of losing something if they try something new. And obviously, this also happens because there is a part of them that doesn't trust. There is a part of them that is very indecisive and sometimes completely disconnected from the adventures of life. So this can show up in many different ways. These are just some of the ways that passive expression of the avoidance behaviors can show up in our life. And I want you to consider, if when you're procrastinating, what is it that you are resisting to? What is on the other side of that you're resisting to that makes you feel a little fearful? Maybe if I do this and then this happen, I'm going to have to level up, or I'm going to have to show who I really am. I want you to consider what is there for you so that this can make sense at a very deep soul level. Let all the parts of you show up with this conversation, so that you can get the most out of it. Now, the other part of the resistance to life, there is another one that is, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to be upset that I have to do it. And I know some of these clients, some of them are very wealthy people that I see, and they have this grudging compliance where they're doing things for themselves or families or clients or business partners, but they're doing it with, I'm going to do this, but I don't want to. And then I'm going to be angry about it. I'm going to maybe even go into rage. And you know what? I'm going to do it because I have to save you, because if I don't save you, nobody else is going to save you. And then also, some of these people deal with a lot of arrogance to cover the mask underneath that, the part that is maybe a child, a wounded child that feels less than, that feels abandoned, that feels neglected, that feels unworthy. It could be many different reasons. And sometimes this could be because of past life experiences. So it doesn't always have to be in childhood. As we talk about this, I want you to expand your field of consciousness. This is not just about these life experiences. We're talking about experiences that also could happen while you were in your mother's womb, while you were in past life experiences, or even in the spirit realm or other planets. So this is much bigger than this life only. Another way that the grudging compliance can come as passive behaviors is when the person feels like, I have to be the one to suffer, so I'm going to take the pain of my family members or even my clients. I see this in healers too, where they are taking the pain. Let it come, because I can do this, but you cannot. So they want to rescue people. They want to be the ones that suffer so that other people cannot suffer, so that the other people don't have to go through that suffering. But sometimes these people can also be very passively aggressive and may deal with a lot of unconscious rage, because they have taken so much that enough is enough. A part of them knows enough is enough, but the other part that wants to save and that's still trying to make up for something. And the reason why some people do this is because in past lives, maybe they made promises that they had to suffer for what they did. So we see these passive expressions when people go through past lives, and in this life they're doing these behaviors, and when they go to past life they realize that maybe they were the abusers, or maybe they were in a time in a past life that was very crucial for the soul, where they decided, oh, the only way to do this is to suffer for others. Maybe they were religious leaders and so on. So we really have to allow ourselves to expand the feeling of the filter of consciousness for us to get the most out of what this could mean for us at the soul level. So hear this with your soul and spirit, not from the conscious self. Now, another passive expression is behaviors or feelings of truly, or a state of being confused, feeling like I'm always lost. Maybe in your dreams, you feel lost, always confused, like, what is the right answer? How can I trust my intuition? Maybe this is coming from this in past life experiences. So as we continue, what is the solution though to being resistant to saying yes to life? And that is a healing process that can take several sessions and maybe a year or two or more, depending on what type of therapy you use. But when you go through the healing process, what you're going to get on the other side of that is that you're going to start saying, hello, I'm ready for life. What is the adventure for today? Let's go and do things. Let's explore. Let's be curious. Let's be observant of what others are experiencing and open to so many possibilities that sometimes I have no idea why it's happening, but I'm going to trust life that is happening. So it's a beautiful process when you get to the point where you start being curious and feeling butterflies for trying new things. This means that you're making a lot of progress and you're really going through to the point where you're saying, yes, I want to show up to life. So let's move on quickly to the ways that we see another soul wound is the feelings of powerlessness. And this can show up in many different ways. So we just saw the resistance to life. Now we're going to move on to the powerlessness. So the powerlessness shows up with when people are experiencing self-sabotaging behavior, maybe even self-hatred, maybe shame and guilt, being afraid of being judged is also something that shows up for a lot of people that have these soul wounds of feeling powerlessness. So when you feel powerless, you're going to feel like there are things in your life that you have no control of, that no matter how hard you try, you cannot get over it. Maybe it's not the whole part of you, a part of you. So in what ways does a part of you shows up and feel powerless in regards to? You got to consider that. Where do you feel like you have to get small? Where do you feel like you have to escape and isolate, disappear? Because that's going to give you the clue of which part of you. And notice how old maybe that part feels. Is it female or male? You can start asking yourself these questions, because with the powerlessness, there is a lot of feelings of destruction, self-destruction. I cannot love myself because there is a part of me that hates herself. So in what ways do we feel this little part or very big part shows up in our life when we feel? What experiences or people make us feel powerless? And that's going to give you the hints of how we need to start working on this form of very deep existential soul wounds. So when we feel powerless, there is also a subdivision of that, which is the helplessness. And the helplessness shows up and can look like having issues with manipulating others, having issues with authority figures, having issues with feeling like this is just an injustice, what is happening to the animals, to children, to the homeless, to a specific type of people or country or whatever it may be. this is a form of helplessness. Sometimes we can activate past lives later in life when something happens, maybe something that happened across the planet that makes us feel helplessness. So maybe nothing happened in childhood, but right now there might be something happening where you feel helpless in regards to. And that can give you an idea of what part is trying to come through, and how can you really work through that really fast to say it is okay. I don't have to be the one to save. I can express my concerns and so on without getting to the point where I feel helpless. Because if we do, then we're going to go down the rabbit hole. So another, when we start working through the powerlessness, we are going to experience that through the healing journey. We get to the point sometimes when people do sacred medicine or psychedelics and they say, I just knew that I had to surrender. Well, this is what it means to work through the healing process, to release the feelings of powerlessness at a soul level. When you start really surrendering and you start feeling like it doesn't matter what my expectations are, my intention is going to be X, Y, and Z, but I'm going to be open to whatever comes because I'm going to trust. There is a lot of trust, a lot of letting go of outcomes here, of the possibilities of the outcome, and truly going through the healing journey and being vulnerable with the darkest feelings that we can feel. Otherwise, we're not going to get to the root cause of the powerlessness. Now, the other form, the third form of the four deepest deep soul wounds are unworthiness. This is the third form. So we have resistance to life, powerlessness, and helplessness that come together, group together, and then we have unworthiness. And the unworthiness is one that we see with a lot of successful people, because normally when people get to a point where they're very successful, they can start also having perfectionism issues. And this is a little bit something that we need to be very careful with, because it can go from doing our best and showing up to everything has to be 100% perfect. Otherwise, it's a no-go. And this happens with people that are trying to transition from careers, maybe even in a business setting, going from one business to another, or from corporate to becoming a coach or healer. And they're always looking for 20,000 courses, because otherwise I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to be the best. And what this means is that there is issues here with, I'm never going to be good enough unless I have 20 courses under my belt, unless I know every single technique out there. So they're either living in the future because I have to be the best, or living in the past. I'm not going to be good enough to transition and make a living out of this. So this can get very, very, there is a lot of shame here with, I'm never going to be good enough, or there is anxiety because I'm living in the past or the future. Also, a lot of issues with feeling completely, what I see this with corporate executives is that there is a lot of feelings of feeling like they have to be responsible for everything and everyone. So the sense of responsibility is overcasting the whole body, the whole self, so that it takes over. And sometimes when we go through past lives and in between lives, what we see is that some of those people that feel very unworthy, they're dealing with feelings of unworthiness because at a deep soul level, they feel like they were abandoned by God. So they might be really angry with God and they don't even know it. And when they're going through the healing process and they realize some of these hidden fears and feelings, it's like, whoa, I never saw that coming. So there is a lot of shame here. I'm not good enough. I had to be exiled from the spirit realm. And now I'm here with these people, with this family, and they don't understand me. I don't understand them. So there is a lot of shame, fear, anger, rage even. So when we really start working with healing the unworthiness, we are going to come to, what I see when people are working through the feelings of just really letting go of the unworthiness is that to mask the unworthiness, they might have a lot of arrogance as well and a lot of pride. I have to be. But when they start healing, one of the best things that I love experiencing with clients is when they come to the point where I don't have to save anyone because they can save themselves. I can just guide them. So it takes so much weight from people that are trying to transition into healers and coaches, because I don't have to save anyone. There is a healer within them that has all the answers. And what I have to do is guide them through that process. And there's also a lot of forgiveness here. All the people that hurt me, or all the people that I hurt, because as you go through this process, you start first working on the people that hurt you, and then you get to the point where you're really advancing and you're going through, oh wow, but I also hurt those other people, whoever they were. So we get to the forgiveness phase, and there is a lot of sacredness in everyday experiences and seeing things that we couldn't see before, because we have new lenses, and it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So when let's transition real quick, and I'll just go really fast through the disorder identity, because this is almost like the sum of the other previous one, where we are dealing with the same issues, but there is a sense of being split. And I see even psychiatrists and psychologists that have these issues where they feel, I had so much trauma in childhood that I really feel like I have 2-3 different identities. And this can be a little gray. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, because it's possible that some people that are extremely successful have these issues, but I think sometimes in the traditional medicine, psychologists, psychiatrists, they think when they have the multiple parts that, oh, I have multiple personality disorder. And I think sometimes the more healing that they have done, at least with me, my clients, they have noticed that some of those parts come from past lives. So it's not necessarily that they have multiple personality disorder, but that obviously is a very case-by-case situation. But these people are very critical of themselves, and they have a lot of self-doubt. They don't feel like they are one. They feel like they're completely split among many different parts of who they are. And when they heal that, there's going to be a sense of self that comes through. That healer within comes through. And there is so much integrity with being okay with the boundaries I said, because it is my right to have these boundaries, healthy boundaries, this sense of identity that I didn't have before. So it's a beautiful process. So as we continue with these wounds, I want you to really see how the wisdom comes through when people start the healing process and they get to the other side. There is a sense of purpose after you go through this healing process. And when you're getting clients to do this work, it becomes such a sacred experience to see them awaken to those new realities of the real version of who they are at the core level that is beautiful beyond words, beyond what I can express in words. So for potential healers and coaches, what I want you to consider is, as we go through this healing process, as healer, whether you're doing psychedelic integration or coaching, spiritual coaching, wellness coaching, or whatever you may be coaching, mindset coaching, the trauma cycling here is key. And a lot of people don't do this work because they go into quantum healing or some new modality that promises one thing but forgets about the core. And I really want us to go through the soul wounds, why they cause us to have these fears and sabotaging patterns that keeps us stuck. And sometimes it's because of a past situation that left a part of us in that experience. So we are always operating from that loop that says, but remember, maybe parents or siblings or a professor said, no, you're not good enough to do this, or you're never going to be smart enough. You're never going to be able to go to college. You're never going to be able to be successful. And trust me, I see clients like this all the time where their parents were the ones telling them that, and professors and other kids in the community. So something that somebody said and stuck with you has very important meaning for you. So when you think about the self-sabotaging pattern and the imposter syndrome, oh, I'm not going to do that because this person is already doing that, or this is a copy of what somebody else is already doing. That is also a way that the fear of failure shows up, or even fear of success. So consider what is something that you always think of that, oh, wow, I always remember that memory. What is there for me? Another thing that successful people, even healers and coaches, have issues with is the pleasing behavior, people pleasing. They're not able to say no, and they overcommit to the point where they burn out. And that is definitely a soul wound. There is a part of them that believes, a shadow aspect, that if I don't say yes and I don't do this, they're not going to love me, they're not going to want me, they're not going to respect me, or they're not going to think X, Y, and Z of me. So consider that. What is there for you when you think about that? And in the relationships that you have, how do you show up? How are you able to experience not only boundaries, but completely being vulnerable with your partners, family members, or friends? Are you able to do that? Or do you feel like you have to hide behind a certain mask? Sometimes we do that even with ourselves. We hide behind a mask because it's too much. It's too much for us to feel who we are, because we're afraid sometimes of who we are. And another way that successful people that are afraid of success or fear of failure may or have soul wounds issues is that they have very high unrealistic standards. There is a part that knows better and another part that says, yes, we have to do this because this is the way that I show my value. But because they're clashing, we need to do mindset healing and coaching in order for you to have synergy and balance between them two, in order for us to really be able to be in alignment with our soul mission. And it is possible. You know, I think we all know the impact on not only on the emotional, but also self-care. Can we take care of ourselves? And how is this affecting our family and career and purpose? What is the purpose of being here? So I think we have to also see some of these hidden situations that are happening in my subconscious and conscious mind. How are they really keeping me in a loop? How do I loop over and over certain challenges or situations? So if you go to soulhealingtribe.com blog, the blog post, Phoenix Rising, you're going to be able to do this. I want you to take a second to close your eyes and imagine that you're lifting, and then you notice that there are 3 or 4 or 5 different weights underneath you. And notice what they are. This crucial exercise is going to help you identify some of the soul wounds. When you're lifting, and you notice you're lifting, but then you're somehow stuck. Notice the weights underneath you. Identify those weights, because that's going to give you clues about what are some of the soul wounds that you need to work through. So the soul imprints, this is very important because, as I mentioned, when we experience trauma, a part of us stays in that experience. And those feelings of the trauma, as you consider some of the things that you experience in your life, I want you to ask yourself, is there any part of me that feels incomplete, empty, maybe like something is missing in my life? Maybe if you're working with someone and you ask them, you might even get answers like, is there a part of you that feels vulnerable? Like there is a part of you that is lost or searching for something? Then you know that they have a very deep soul wound. So ask yourself, is there any part of me that feels incomplete, empty, or like something is missing, or like I feel lost, like I'm looking for direction in my life? Because that means that there is a soul wound that you need to work through. So what causes us to split? This is very important because sometimes it could be very big trauma like sexual abuse, physical abuse, but it can also be something small or something like a car accident or an illness, disease, or just being completely neglected. That can also cause the soul to split in specific experiences. And that is going to cause issues because when we split, a part of us creates a shadow aspect. And when that shadow aspect is created, we then can allow something else to enter our energy field. So the soul possessions and the attachment and energy attachments are a real thing. If you don't believe in that, maybe this is a time for you to bounce. But if you do understand energy and how energy works, you know that this is possible. So the breathing issues, chest pains, heart pain, even addictions and fears and anxiety, grief can cause attachments. So we need to be aware of that. And what does that look like? When we start the healing process is that we need to work through the low vibration emotions, feelings. We need to re-experience. I don't care what traditional medicine says. We need to re-experience in order for us to do proper soul retrieval, just like we do when we do shamanic journeys. We need to become self-aware, because when we become self-aware, we can release the limiting beliefs and habits that we created in that moment of the trauma. We need to be able to heal the fragmented parts, release the shadows, and rescue the soul that was left behind in order for us to feel better. And we need to release also somatically those release emotions and sensations from our body, and also allow the time to grieve and welcome back parts that needed to come back and be rescued by us. It's a beautiful process. So this is just from one of my clients. He worked through heavy anxiety, and in a matter of months, he was done with those very negative, intrusive thoughts. This is another client that worked through depression and anxiety, and her life completely changed in less than a year. This is something that you can also do for your clients. So as you consider the healing process, I want to invite you to consider how the dreams, this is something that I'm very passionate about, because I believe that the dreams are the cheat sheet for us to do work at another level that sometimes we cannot do. And the reason why I've been able to work with so many clients that are dealing with depression, anxiety, intrusive thoughts, unworthiness is because I also work with them in the dreams. When they're having those dreams and nightmares, we take advantage of that to do work at the soul level, something that they cannot think that they made up because they're already experiencing that in the dreams and nightmares. So this is a very powerful technique to help you. So when you're asleep, your brain is fully involved. There are parts of you that are going to come online. And also there are energies and spirit guides that can produce dreams for you so that you can be aware of what is happening at the soul level. So when we think about the multi-reality of the soul, we are really doing work just like shamans do. We are going through a gate and experiencing life through the subconscious and unconscious mind so that we can do work at a deep, deep soul level. And through science, epigenetics now shows that ancestral trauma is passed down through the genes, even up to 7 or more generations. So if science is able to prove this, imagine what we can do with dreams and understanding how to release ancestral trauma by working in the dreams and trance experiences, nightmares, and specific thoughts, beliefs, sensations in your body. We can do work to release those so that you can really become a new person. It was Sigmund Freud that said the door to the unconscious is basically the dreams. And Gabor Mate, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, but if I know, please excuse me. You know, he says that in the dreams, we manifest the unconscious, and that's what we need. We need to go into the subconscious and unconscious in order to heal everything that is holding us back. This is magical work, and it is so sacred, and I want to be able to teach you how to do this for your own clients, whether you're doing this to be a healer or coach. This is Holly. She was practicing one of the QHHT and other methods for many years, and with DRT, she found a missing link. So as we contemplate on the challenges of becoming an effective healer and coach, being a business owner, healing business owner, some of the things that I noticed with some of my clients is that they are investing so much time and money in so many trainings, and they still feel like they don't have the confidence. They don't have all the tools. They feel like they're not going to make it. They feel like they're not going to be able to sustain a proper lifestyle. They feel like they don't know if they're going to be here 2-3 months later because they are not able to feel the confidence to really get the clients through breakthroughs. And this is possible with what I have to teach you. So, and this is another executive that worked through abandonment issues and deep-rooted traumas.
Victoria, thank you so much for all that great information, and I really appreciate you taking the time today to share it with us. I think this is a natural segue to talk more explicitly about your program called the Dream Nightmare Psychedelic Trance Regression Technique. So the Dream Regression Technique is a program for you if you are wanting to learn how to awaken the healer within. It's a holistic and comprehensive healing technique blending traditional, spiritual, and shamanic approaches to address the 4 fundamental aspects of our being: body, mind, soul, and spirit. Victoria, can you walk us through what you'll be covering in the DRT program?
Yeah, so what's included in the DRT? What are you going to learn are a lot of different protocols in order for you to do soul work at a very advanced level. And to get to the advanced, you have to start with the beginning and intermediate protocol. So you're going to learn beginning, intermediate, and advanced protocols within the training program. This is really soul work because we work on dreams and nightmares and trance experience and communication with our spirit team, ancestors. We do a lot of ancestor healing if that's something that you might want to start seeing clients for. So we're also going to learn how to decipher the messages, how to help your clients decipher messages, the metaphors within those dreams and nightmares and trances and spiritual downloads, so that we can really help our clients awaken to their true potential. This is just really absolutely beautiful work. So when you start doing DRT training, you're going to also work on helping your clients release ancestral trauma, because a lot of those traumas are encoded within the person through their genes, just like we saw before with epigenetics. This is scientifically proven now. This is not just something that we say in spiritualism or shamanism. This is actually that is now scientifically proven, where these genes are being passed generation to generation. So doing ancestral work is such a beautiful, powerful healing experience. And we really have to have a lot of practitioners be able to do this for our communities. So another thing that we work through as part of being part of this program in the life cohort is really doing a lot of work to balance ourselves so that we can become the healer. There is nothing wrong with starting to do this work when you still have a lot of work to do yourself. But the more that you become serious about being a healing practitioner, if you don't do some of this work, it's going to catch up with you. So being able for you to really feel in alignment, to feel that you can hold that space is crucial if you really want to make this a lifelong practice for you, your family, and your clients. We're also going to work on overcoming limiting money blocks. This is something that we as healers experience because maybe we have certain beliefs that we have to be a certain way, or we cannot charge a certain amount because that goes against the healing protocols, codes. And we have all of these past ancestral beliefs that we have to stay within this limit, because otherwise if we go over, there is danger, or we cannot be more than somebody else in our family or someone else within our immediate network. So there is a lot of limiting blocks here. So we're going to do a lot of work to uncover those blocks and release them within the life training program and within the mastermind for the 1-year process that is really life mastery and business mastery mastermind. We're also going to do a lot of work so that you also get to experience this healing process in real life, so that you can see the true benefits, because you have to become a true believer of what you're doing so that you can be confident with what you're going to be doing for your clients. Another thing is that because we work in the dream realm, when we go through the dreams, we are going to other possibilities throughout time and space. So we have to be able to navigate through not only this life traumas and situations, but also the womb regression. We also have to go through between lives and past lives. So life between lives protocol, it is going to be a modified process that you're going to be able to use with your clients if when you're working with them, they go naturally to those experiences, or you can navigate them to go to those specific experiences depending on the purpose that the client is coming to see you for. Naturally, because this is a lot of healing work, you're going to be working on learning how to do this for yourself and your clients to be able to do a lot of shadow work so that we can release the false identities. So we're doing false identity release so that the true identity can be awakened within us. We're also going to be doing a lot of releasing of sabotaging patterns, habits, specific behaviors and actions that we take that are going to blow you away. These things that we do that come from some of the experiences that we have experienced throughout time and space, throughout the multi-reality of the soul, even if it's 1,000 years ago, it's still affecting us here now. And you're going to be able to learn that in the training so that you can really understand at a soul, deep soul level why this happens, how it happens, and how to help your clients release that, because that's the key. We have to get them to release so that they can start seeing the change within them. The more change and the more release, the more powerful they feel, the more full and grounded they feel, so that they can really be here in this experience of life right now. Again, because I come from a very shamanic and spiritual background, we're going to incorporate some of the shamanic tools here so that we can really take a session, even if you're doing virtual sessions, that we can take a session that can be a certain way to take it to the next level so that the client can really do deeper work on like something else that they have done before. This is going to really be a program where you do it, and then you're going to be able to guide your clients to do the same thing so that they can experience deep transformations within 90 minutes to 2 hours. This is fast, and the change after is just amazing. Naturally, because we're doing a lot of work not only for this life but past lives, you're also going to learn some of the basic things that not only from the spiritual background, but also from the therapeutic side of things. How can we merge them too so that we can really understand what's happening with our soul, our spirit, and our physical self when we are experiencing this trauma? So this is definitely very important for all of us. Again, because of the things that we're going to do with inner child healing, you also naturally are going to learn how to really release before birth. What are the wounds that the soul is already experiencing before birth, so that we can really release and let go of things that maybe consider mysterious blocks, because they're like, whoa, I never saw this coming. And we're going to do a lot of somatic release. We're going to take advantage of some of these tools so that you can really anchor the client to experience, even when they are in between lives, even when they are coming before being implanted into the mother's belly. And this is important because for a lot of us that are walking this healing path, we have so many wounds in between lives before coming to this life that we can know there is no way that we can make this up. So that when you go through those experiences and you get to experience what I felt like, you really start understanding at a deeper level what was happening with me even before I was in my mother's belly. Like, this is key, because we need to let go of a lot of the trauma that is in between that bridge before incarnating here as whoever you are today. Now, obviously, I talked about the inner child healing and the really going to past life to look for deeper, the root, like really taking out the roots of the trauma. even if the trauma was in this life, we are going to go to past lives to really go to the root of the problem so that we can really take it out from the root so that it doesn't continue to repeat within the client's experience. Because if we only do this life, we're going to leave the client almost halfway there. Sometimes that's enough, but most of the time when we're really working with a lot of deeper things, we're going to have to go to past lives to really see what else is there. And naturally, because of that, not only we're going to be doing spirit releasement and ET implant removal. So if you're scared about spirits and, oh my God, this person is crazy because now she's talking about ET implants removal, you're either being triggered because this is important for your soul, or you're being triggered to know that, this is not for you, because this is going to be key. When we're working in the dreams are one of those places where certain entities use them to really trick us in a way that we have to navigate through those experiences to really help the client see and find their truth within those experiences. So if you're triggered by this, by the fact that we're going to be doing spirit releasement and ET implant removal, perhaps this is definitely not the training for you at this moment. So, I really want people that want to be in the program to be in the program because they're hungry, because they want to learn, they want to help others. But if you're going to be afraid and in panic that this is possible, or, perhaps thinking this is just nonsense, then perhaps this is not the program for you. Now, another thing is that we are also going to learn how to really, sometimes clients come and they have no idea what is wrong with them. So really helping the client navigate through the things that they need to work through when they have no idea what is wrong, but they know something is not working, it's going to be also very important. And like I said, we're going to do a lot of womb regression, womb healing, and rebirthing. So just to do a quick recap, we're going to be doing dreams and nightmares regression. We're going to be doing trance regression and integration. We're going to be doing spiritual download regression and integration. We're going to be doing problem shifting, trigger shifting, and release. We're going to do mysterious blocks release. We're going to do ancestral healing. We're going to release false identities, release sabotaging patterns, and be able to bring the true essence of who we are. We're going to do spirit releasement, and we're going to do ET implant removal. So that is a lot to cover in all of these weekends that we're going to have together, in the evenings that we're going to have together. And then after all of that training, we have access to the life coaching and the mastermind that is going to be definitely something that you want to take advantage of. So if any of these things sounded like it's resonating with you, I really want to invite you to check out also the exercise that I promised you. The Phoenix Rising exercise is on soulhealingtribe.com. You go to the blog, right at the bottom, at the footer, the blog, you should be able to see that blog. And then within that blog, you're going to find the hidden limiting beliefs exercise that is actually quite long. You're going to take a few minutes to fill that out, and you're going to find so many hidden beliefs that it's going to be like, wow, I cannot believe that with something so simple, I was able to identify so many things that I need to work on. And also you're going to find a link so that you can see some of the previous cohorts, exercises, debrief, and some of the conversations that we have before you decide to go forward, because I definitely just want a core group of people for the next cohort that are really ready to dive deep and to be open to explore everything that they need to heal and really get to hit the ground running, because we have so much work to do. And if we have to spend hours trying to help you understand why some of these things are possible, we're going to lose a lot of the time that we need to really learn this protocol. So check that out. So soulhealingtribe.com/blog, and then you'll find the blog that you're looking for, the Phoenix Rising and the hidden limited beliefs. And then from there, you're going to see the link to go to a free little taste of what DRT, all of this soul work, is really all about. Additionally, there are additional protocols that I'm providing you with when you take this training, because they are crucial. Sometimes people come because they have specific experiences, whether it is abortions, miscarriages, or something that is happening. Maybe they lost someone, and we have to be able to help them and know how to do it and still apply everything else that you learn, so that you really provide your clients with a very integrated approach that considers the body, mind, soul, and spirit. So I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. So as you can see, the DRT program is a comprehensive program consisting of 90 plus hours of training, 3 separate weekends plus 4 Wednesday evening classes spread over 3 months. The total live training is 90 hours long plus practice sessions, over 120 hours of training to become an advanced transpersonal healer. But that's not all. When you sign up for the DRT program, you will receive access to the mastermind group designed specifically to collaborate, support each other, and strategize together, and share resources to build your businesses together, absolutely free. Included in the complimentary mastermind, you will have access to monthly mastermind meetings, access to a WhatsApp group, all certified DRT practitioners listed on soulhealingtribe.com, the invaluable accountability that comes from a supportive community, feedback and support, problem solving, motivation and inspiration, and much more. This specialized training is designed for individuals just like you who are fully dedicated to embarking on and embracing a journey of transformation. The aspects of doing this training is to heal yourself so you can become the healed healer. Victoria has assisted over 400 people in releasing feelings of depression, negative intrusive thoughts, low self-esteem, abandonment issues, anxiety, and those struggling with their spiritual journey due to fears and doubts. You can do the same if you're ready to commit the time and the resources to learn advanced protocols not taught anywhere else. And if you take action today, not only will you be getting access to the full DRT program, you will also be gifted the mastermind access. Victoria has helped countless people. So Victoria, can you share how your students have been impacted by your dream regression technique program?
Absolutely. We have a few different type of students per se, those that are healers, therapists, or coaches, and those that are going through it for personal development because they're going through their own spiritual journey and they want to know more what is happening in their life. So for those people that are taking the program for spiritual development, for self-development, what they're getting out of it is that they're really becoming more empowered with their own healing process to know that everything that they need is really within us. And a lot of these people are also working with their own family members, especially children, to help those kids that are experiencing nightmares and having dreams that sometimes can be a little disturbing. So they're being empowered to take the matter in their own hands and really help their kids at a level that they couldn't imagine before. So it's a beautiful process to get them to do that. And the people that are doing this because they want to become practitioners and they're actually already seeing clients, what they're getting out of it is a technique that really dives deep into the issues, into the process that can be resolved in a matter of 90 minutes or less. And it is the missing link, like some of my students have said, which is a beautiful thing to hear from them because they are able to use a technique that really dives deep at a soul level, unlike anything else that they have experienced before. So magical work.
Thank you so much, Victoria. And do you have any final words to leave the audience with before we end our time here together?
Wow, I think I have said a lot. So I'm just going to invite everybody to check out soulhealingtribe.com/DRT. And in there, you're going to see a little more about what other people have said, what they have experienced. You can also check out the free program that you will have the link in the link here. And you'll be able to see what others have experienced firsthand. So there is nothing better than for you to see it yourself. So hope to see some of you there.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.